Ladies and gentlemen, praise God and welcome in. This is the Matthew Dark Show. Now remember, hit subscribe everywhere you get your shows. Never miss an episode. If you saw the results of the elections around the country this week, you would be hard to surprise or hard to guess that we have a dominant MAGA movement, White House turning on all cylinders, and that being the contagion of the country. That is not the case. In fact, what it was a loud message. Democrat agendas got through in Democrat places. Now, is that forewarning what comes in 26? You have midterms. There is some dangerous things for President Trump to sort of sidestep. He cannot ever lose control. I think at this point, President Trump understands if he ever loses control of the Senate, the House, impeachment, jail, terrible things happen to the country. And you'll say, why? Well, because he's on the opposite side of the aisle. I think that's the point of the politics that we're at now. The fantasy of going back and reaching across that aisle and shaking hands, I think those have been gone for some time, but we'll see if there's something to salvage. A fantastic guest, Heidi. Now remember, former gubernatorial candidate for Colorado, the Republican candidate in 22, business owner, RockyMountainVoice.com. That's where you can follow the newsletter, catch the shows, stay informed. I want to welcome you in, first of all, and thank you so much for coming on. I guess just your thoughts. These were Democrat areas that went Democratic. Your thoughts, though, on just the kind of a blowout for Democrats across this last week. Go ahead.
Thank you, Matthew. Yeah, it's depressing to say the least. And I am very concerned about the election results, not just nationally, but in Colorado. We lost a very conservative majority on the school board in Douglas County. We had some other disasters like the city council in Aurora. Danielle Jurinsky lost her seat. She's a firebrand. We lost Centennial, which is in a very important area of Arapahoe County, one of our most important, city councils and mayors in the state. Steph Pico was the mayor. She was termed out. It's devastating. And it really put up my spidey senses about what's going to happen next year. And here's the problem, Matthew. Like, I was part of a project that was going all in on several of these school boards. We won a couple, Elizabeth and Montrose, and we lost Douglas County and Durango. Durango was a long shot. But, the whole team, we had a great team. We had good candidates. Everything was lined up beautifully, and we still lost badly. Yes. We had money. We had everything you need to pull off a good result in an election. That bothers me more than anything.
Now, and I want to stop right there because that to me is too, because the people that I come across in the areas that you just described, they are not on the left hysterical people that would suggest that a man in a wig and a swimsuit would be allowed to dance in front of children. They oppose that. Even though they're not MAGA fans or Trump fans, they oppose that. They oppose the DEI. They oppose the Black Lives Matter in the streets burning. They're not into all that stuff. They're just not MAGA people. I guess that's my greatest fear is there's not like a middle area for these people to go to. So are they viewing Republican and MAGA values are so extreme and offensive that they just sort of recoil into, well, we love minorities and we love the LGBTQ. I mean, how are these people coming to this decision with just a pretty clear thing on if the votes are even sincere? Because I also think, well, nobody makes that decision in volume, in mass. These are obviously fake votes. So is it fake voting or people are truly just so captured, there's no thinking going on?
Well, I think you hit on two very important points. One, we've got big issues with our elections here in Colorado. I did some deep dive audits after my race in 22 and found some very disturbing things, like the U.S. Post Office is not being accountable for undeliverable ballots, to the tune of like 30,000 in a few counties. We've got the drop boxes that are not monitored, over 400 of them around Colorado. We've got voter rolls that are not clean. We've got no outside auditing. The only one that's auditing the elections is Jenna Griswold, which is very troublesome. And you've got Wi-Fi remote access in 12 of the counties that they'll admit. So all these things, those are just a few of the things that we found are very worrisome. On the voter side, I tell you what, women ruled the day, and not in a good way for Republicans in Colorado.
You're so right. And my thoughts were, I saw some some social media clips going around and they were interviewing women voters, 25 to 40. And they're talking about what a rock star Mamdani is and what a triumphant week. And it's almost like, and I say this we've got to get our women back to sanity in so many cases, because those that have chosen, the women that have chosen, say, well, I don't need a man. I want to be a CEO woman. I want to be a career woman. I want to be free or whatever. We've got to get that woman back in. Even though she feels free and doing this, it's a very scary place for a woman to think that she's going to take this sort of masculine energy and vote her way to protection, when we want to get them back into more of this traditional role. And does that mean a woman has to stay inside with a head to toe covering and can't speak? Absolutely not. But we want our families back together. We want our family values back together. And then that woman is going to see, wow, I'm limitless in my potential. So you're 100% right. That was a scary, scary turnout. And that trend has been going. I mean, it was scary for Hillary Clinton. It was scary with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. What are these women doing? Don't you want protection? Don't you want safety? These people are opposite of protection and safety for women, especially if you're an unborn woman in the womb. There's not a more dangerous place side to be on. So we have to get them back. So what is it, the messaging then, if you're a conservative side speaking to that 20-something woman that's fine with abortion, that's fine with, promiscuity, that's fine with just living for the world, what's the messaging to get her back?
Well, a couple things. One is the faith community has to step up. We have to get young women back to Christ. We have to get them strong in their faith. They've wandered away from that. That's a problem. The second thing is abortion rules the day. Abortion rights are the end all be all to a lot of young women. And we need to get them back to thinking about this in the terms of family values. Like, what makes a strong family? What were we created to do? We were created to love each other, produce children, build beautiful families.
Yes.
And that is the way to happiness. Unfortunately, the social media, the culture is broken in that regard. And the new issue that's taken the place of abortion, since they have every abortion right known to mankind, especially in Colorado, they can have abortion up until birth, and it's paid for by the taxpayers, is the whole transgender issue and women's sports being taken over by men. We have an incredible leader here in Colorado, Jennifer Say, who leads XXXY and is very outspoken on this issue. Riley Gaines comes here a lot. Colorado is an abortion tourism state. It's a trans tourism state. It's broken. The culture is broken here. So I woke up Wednesday morning and I was like, as much as I thought it was important to focus on learning how to do the campaigns correctly and win elections through the tactical methods of campaigns, this is now a cultural war. It was before, but it's so much more evident that this is the battle we're facing. It's not about politics per se, the tactical part of politics. It's about culture. It's about faith. It's about evil versus good.
I think that's beautifully said. And that's kind of the conclusion I came to in recent weeks. Is it's clear you will not vote your way out of this,
right,
at least at this point. We've got to go inside organically, and a one-on-one, loving the neighbor, seeing the neighbor, connecting with the neighbor. I say I'm a Christian. I'm this great MAGA person. Prove it. Is anybody seeing the fruit of that walk? And so you're right. It's my job. This is the side to be on, because it's all about love and lifting up others. Okay. That has to be the messaging, knowing that whatever political party is in power, they could care less about us anyways. At the end of the day, since Donald Trump has been in office, the average person's life, is not, you cannot demonstrably say, well, I have more money in the bank, all the crime's gone away, the schools are fixed. I mean, none of that has really taken place. We just have a somewhat sense of security that there's potential, there's hope on the table. Inside job, my neighbor who celebrates an LGBTQ flag, he celebrates a BLM flag. The way culture changes is I walk over there with the heart of Christ and I say, can I tell you about a different way? And you hopefully plant seed. It's hard work. It's dirty work. It's not the most fun work. It's commanded work, but that's how culture changes. So we look at Colorado. We saw what happened in New York. We saw what happened in New Jersey. We saw what happened Prop 50. We saw Virginia. Colorado will set up for a very similar thing. It almost feels, gosh, should we save all the money that we would give to a Republican candidate and feed the homeless, take people out of addiction, because it feels like it's futile. It feels like it's hopeless to get this demon unseated in Colorado. You got to start at the top, but right now it's a dominated thing. What is the likelihood? What is the point? I mean, the resources even worth it to say we can have a Republican governor in Colorado? Absolutely. Is it possible?
Okay, Matthew, what I would suggest is we take our money, and I'm going to take my money and resources and energy and let's open Turning Point chapters in all 714 high schools in this state.
Mm.
And I would suggest getting kids educated and informed about the founding principles of our country, but also getting them exposed to Charlie Kirk and his commitment to bringing young people to Jesus Christ is really, really important. And we've already kind of lost that momentum a little bit since Charlie died. But I think we've got to keep that alive. And the way we do that is by executing on the vision of Charlie to have 20,000 chapters in high schools around the country and then make those chapters hum. They've got to do really good job of building and growing and inviting young people in to hear the story of Turning Point, to hear the story of our country, and to hear Charlie espouse his commitment to Jesus Christ and getting young people back to their faith.
Exactly. I'm on a 100% lockstep with you. It's going to be done organically underneath them, behind their back, and they're going to say, where did this movement? It's overwhelming. Yes. And that's the goal. Yeah. And I'm so glad you brought up Charlie. And the reason Charlie is, you have an incredibly impactful young man who did so much more than so many will do in multiple lifetimes. That's why his death is so important. Not only that it's remembered and carried on, but that justice is served. And I'll be straight up, I'll be super honest. I'm really concerned at the MAGA reaction to the acceptance of the circumstances related to Charlie's death. And I don't know, maybe they are telling the 100% truth. Okay, let's set that aside. We have demonstrable evidence that they just got done lying about the Epstein files and all those cases. And so here we go with the same cast of characters, Pam Bondi and Kash Patel telling us that no, it was a homosexual lone shooter on the roof that laid the breadcrumbs all the way out. We've got him. 33 hours. We've heard the story. It doesn't feel right. And there's so much activity online and counter. Why was Charlie killed? Who benefited? There's no way that a 30-06 did that. I want to preserve and carry on the messaging and the efforts that Charlie was doing, because I think it was some of the purest in America. And we don't know all the inner workings of TPUSA, and I'm sure it's like every organization with you got bad apples and you're dealing with them. But its heart was for God, for the Constitution, and for the American people. And that's something that everybody should be behind. Give us your thoughts, though, just kind of on this investigation. It feels like something is up. It feels like, why would you hide this from us? We loved him. We want to support him. And we want to see that he gets justice. It doesn't feel right. Smells stinky. What do you think?
Well, I think it goes back to a bigger issue that we have in this administration right now. And I hope that they're paying attention and watching.
Yes.
We elected President Trump to show us everything. We're big kids. We can take it. We can handle it. We want everything exposed. We want to get to the truth. Yes. And I believe Charlie wants to get to the truth. And I believe Erica does as well. And so does the leadership of Turning Point. I know them very well. I was on the advisory board for Turning Point for many years. I know Charlie. I know his heart. I know their team's heart. No one wants the truth to be exposed more than all of them, but they've got an organization to run. They've got to stay focused on the task at hand. And the task at hand is to grow Turning Point as quickly and effectively as possible and stay true to the mission. So I hope that the experts are going to do their job. And I watched Erica's interview the other night. I trust that she's in the know and she's believes that they're getting the job done on that front. But I think we don't have any control over that, honestly. We've got to stay focused on what we can control, and that's helping young people in this state of Colorado and across the country open Turning Point chapters, run them well, mentor them, help them get great speakers, feed them at the meetings. Food is the way to the young person's heart.
Yes. And
make sure that vision of Charlie's is seen through. But on the administration front, I am all in. I'm still all in, but we need some results. We need some arrests. We need some truth told. We need exposure. We need everything brought forward so that we can feel good about supporting the next person who runs, which, probably going to be JD Vance and Marco Rubio. They need everyone to be fully confident to go into the war that is going to be 2028 and the war that is next year, the 2026 midterms.
Yes.
So we've got a lot on our plate right now. I would suggest that people stay really, really laser focused on what they can actually do to control their own little world. And the most important thing in Colorado that was shown Tuesday night in the election is You got to get people to turn out. If we don't vote, we don't win. And people did not turn out. It's like 40% turnout for Republicans. That's pathetic. What are you doing? The ballots land right on your desk in Colorado. I know we have concerns about election integrity, but it's certainly not going to go well if we don't turn those ballots in.
You're right. This is the question on the table, because I want to put the perspective of say the average MAGA person who said, I know what the instinct was, that in November of 2024, Donald Trump won. It was the election of a lifetime. America is saved. And I know for at least half the MAGA people, foot came off the accelerator and it was time to say, whew, I can get back to me. I can worry about the things that I don't have to worry about LGBTQ. Then you had others that started to see, okay, well, hold on a second. There's chinks in the armor. This is not the same man that came down the escalator in 2015 with the lovely Melania, and Mexico was going to pay for the wall. This is not the same man. And so we love and support and pray for President Trump every day. But what we have right now is a betrayal in a lot of people's mind. You want me to go out and vote again after I voted specifically for the release of the Epstein list. I voted specifically for COVID justice. I voted specifically to drain the swamp. You want to drain the swamp? Give us the files. Give us the Epstein files. The swamp will drain effective immediately. And I'm not even suggesting we have to hang them all upside down and kill them in the public square. You just let us know that these rock star politicians that these people have been worshiping for so long were doing these things to children. How do you like him now? And you let the American people see this conduct. You judge for yourself if the child should be subjected to this kind of conduct. And so we know that there's a power greater than Donald Trump saying, don't you dare release that. And so we have capture. We have an administration that unfortunately I thought was capture proof because it was for the people. America first. I think we have to change America first to America only, because what it's proven, we get too distracted. We're still in Ukraine. We're still dealing with Gaza. We're still dealing with now in Venezuela. And it has to just say, forget all that noise right now. Our home is burning down. We must address the issues that are here domestically. And I think the American voter who went for Trump is saying, I needed a little bit more meat on the bone to keep me excited for the future. And when you lie to us and you betray us and you come out there and you roll these things and you snap at us for wanting to see the Epstein files, I mean, this was the greatest political movement of all time. And it's been severely fragmented as a result of this. And I think you go right to the Epstein files. So the lie there, followed up with the lie of Charlie Kirk. You're right. TPUSA, they need to continue on the ground what they're doing. We, the people, we're not going to accept this anymore. We're not going to accept the COVID lies anymore. We're not going to accept the 2020 fake election results anymore. Can't do it. We can't just accept all the stories around 9/11 and everything that you guys tell us. We want a second opinion. We like further information. We don't believe you. So that's the question on the table. What does Donald Trump have to do, this administration have to do to get back to the business at hand of America, but to really regain the trust? I think he's lost 30 to 50 million fans as a result of the Epstein bumbling. Not that they're going to go Democrats. They're just going to walk away, say, okay, never mind. They're all the same. I got duped for the last time. Any truth to any of that?
For me, it started with Doge. Like when Doge got sidelined, that was devastating. It was like, oh my gosh, this was such a gift. People were so excited. And I understand why Elon blew up. I totally get it.
Yes.
I was ticked. That was a big issue for me. I am so upset at Senate for not just killing the filibuster and giving him full access.
Yes.
If they do that and nothing happens, that's a deal breaker. But they've got to give him the opportunity. We're going to hold the Senate for a long time if the stats lay out. So quit worrying about what happens when they get control. If they don't kill the filibuster, they're going to get control anyway, because people are going to be so upset that nothing's getting done and they're going to win the midterms and it's going to be a disaster. The second thing is Congress. Congress has not done anything. It's so frustrating. They won't even speak out about anything. I am frustrated as all get out with them. So it's not just a President Trump thing. It's not just a cabinet thing. I think it's a combination of those two things and Congress and Senate. And you've even got at the local level, we've got our legislature kind of like, let's try and work together. So some people just said to me, let's try and just work on election integrity by passing new legislation in Colorado. I'm like, are you kidding me? They aren't going to pass anything. We've got to go, like, at the local level, go meet with your county clerk, demand change, and do it from the bottom up. And they're like, well, we really want to try. I'm like, no, we're done trying the friendly, get along route. It doesn't work anymore. You've got to be sharp and edgy and pointed and go after it. We're at war.
I think you just nailed it. We can move beyond, as Americans, this fantasy that the two parties are going to come to meddle and find it out. It's never going to happen. It is officially never going to happen. And I think it's probably that first Trump term basically put the nail in the coffin, the idea of, well, who's ever in power, they're all in. So you have to kill the filibuster. They're going to do it anyways as soon as they get power. So whether they do it now or in 4 years, it doesn't matter to you. The consequences of not doing it now, though, are devastating. And that's where I think Donald Trump, I don't know where he got this false sense of security that he could blatantly abandon his base, because he is the one. Pam Bondi, you're my subordinate. I demand the release now, and we're going to have he could do all these things right now, but it's not in his heart. It's not in his conviction. He simply will say, okay, can I lie to my base or betray my base and still assume power in 26? And I think that's just a dangerous game, because we know what happens once Democrats control the Congress is it's impeachment. And it could be he jaywalked, impeach him. He spit out his gum on the sidewalk, impeach him. It doesn't need any reasoning. We saw that with Russiagate. We saw that with the fake Ukraine call that said these were all impeachable offenses. So he has to return to this. The number one way, I think, for Donald Trump is, can you come to that sort of common thing that makes everybody feel good right now? And it's all domestic policy. We have to have relief in our pocketbooks. Everything it's endless how expensive this is. You know, we talked about the culture. One of the reasons we have such an erosion in culture is inflation that forces mom to go work full time when she'd rather be raising kids. We'd love for mom to be able to do that, but they have to have two incomes to buy a home in a decent area in Colorado. You need $500,000. Well, for a 20-something or a 30-something, the average homeowner right now in America, 38 years old. That is crazy compared to, like, my parents. They're 21, they're 25. And so at the end of the day, everybody's pocketbook is on the line, and he could come back and win a lot of votes. We got to get to the inflation aspect, especially in a state of like Colorado. I don't know. What are your thoughts as how do we deal with this? Because we can't just expect, well, we got to make 2 or 3% more every year until we're dead, when it's already like hanging on for grim life. We have no money for groceries. We have no money for, of course, there's no savings going on and things like this. How do we get that under control? This inflation, endless.
Well, and Matthew, I'm still a bit more pro-Trumpy. Like, I believe he understands what's going on. I believe there's some behind the scenes stuff going on that we don't understand. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. And I am hoping that there's a fire being lit under all the cabinet members. I'm going to give it another few months, another maybe, till the first of the year to see how things play out. Part of the problem is that our media is not fighting back with the liberal media to report the good things that are happening. Right. I saw a post from Dan Holloway this morning about, the reality of what's going on is core inflation's at 2%. Egg prices are down 53%. Gas is at a 20% or 20-year low. Border encounters are down 96%. Foreign policy, look at all the progress he's made. I know we're worried about domestic policy, but the tariff negotiations are working in a lot of aspects. Yes. We've got a lot of government reform with DEI. So let's look at the positives. Let's give him some grace. But on a local level, what can we do in Colorado, in my neighborhood? You got to know who your precinct committee person is, like your neighborhood cheerleader. Get to be friends with them. Start with your own block, your own neighbors. Talk to them, invite them over, have a barbecue. Everything is local right now. You are the leader you've been waiting for in politics. You've got to start there. The second thing is go to your county level, get involved. I know it sounds boring and not sexy, but the national politics all boils down to the local politics. Yeah. We just had some horrible losses in Colorado. And the only way we come back is by A, rebuilding with the youth, which is Turning Point. B, getting the church activated, which there's good people working on that. Richard Harris, Truth and Liberty, Andrew Womack, those guys are doing a good job. We've got Pastor Jeff from Brave Church I just had speak, Chris Noble. Then we've got to get involved in our local neighborhood, become precinct leaders, or get to be a delegate. It's not fun work. It can be, but it's boring, it's tedious. But that's the work that the Democrats have done for 20, 30 years that we skipped over. And now we're paying the price for that.
Yeah, that's well said. And it is. I don't want to do all that work. It's kind of like exercise. You know, if you choose to not exercise year after year, eventually that's going to catch up to you. And now you do have the 50 pounds you got to deal with. And that's kind of where the Republican, there's a lot of excess waste to deal with because we've lost so many people that were they were primed for the taking, but Democrats were aggressive and sold a very sexy pitch and they got them. And so now it's more work to go get that weight off or to go get that person back. But that is the job at hand, or just turn it all over to them and just let 500 pounds come on. But it is kind of a make or break. I do think that if you were to lose another governorship in Colorado in 26, I don't know how a state like this survives. I mean, the idea that a Republican could ever win California is insane. And some of these places is insane to even think that it's going back. So it's winner take all. That's where we're at in America. We believe that conservative Christian values trump all, and that those should be the ones that guide America, much like our founders said. You will be required to continue to speak. If you're an American citizen that says, hey, you know what, politics isn't working for me, well, express your grievances. Don't stop speaking. Keep speaking, because organically things are going to form. I mean, one of the things on my heart, if you're a Christian conservative in America, I don't think we understand how much power we possess with our money. That collectively, we want to go after industries or companies that are attacking Christians, attacking MAGA first, attacking all these things. Collectively, we could suck billions of dollars out of the world market and put it into the kingdom. But it takes, you know what, we're going to cancel our Netflix this month. Why? I don't think it's right what they're showing children. So I'm going to keep my $14.99 a month, and I'm encouraging 40 million Christians to do the same. Do you think Netflix could handle that kind of overnight drop? And then we're moving on. Apple, you're next. Such and such, you're next, because our values have to align with our pocketbook. And right now we're putting money into a demonic world when it needs to be preserved for organic movements, kingdomly ministries, advancements in America first type stuff. And so we've got to have it. So I'm going to try to be hopeful. I have found myself saying, oh my goodness, the evidence is stacking up that we have potentially put ourselves in a very tough position that we may not get out of. I guess just give us your final thoughts. Hope you see coming for the state, nationally. How can we say, okay, no, this is America still on the right track and it's worth fighting for?
Well, I think we go to the young people. Young people turned out in droves for Donald Trump in 2024. We can get them back. We just need to provide some information about the positive things that are happening and that it's going to take a while. If President Trump came out and said, I know you guys are hurting. I know it's hard to buy a house right now. We understand. We're working very hard on it. We're not going to get results overnight, but we've got your back. It's coming. Here's some examples of what we're doing. It's coming. Work with us. I think that would go, that would mean a lot. I think if Congress started to have the back of President Trump and actually memorialize some of the executive orders he's put in, that would go a long way. In Colorado, focusing on getting Turning Point chapters in all 714 high schools would be incredibly helpful. And then finally, I created Rocky Mountain Voice because I got the snot beat out of me by the liberal media when I ran for governor. And I thought, we don't have anybody on our side speaking out and telling the truth. We have great radio hosts, podcasters. We have the Gazette. We have Complete Colorado. But that's it. We need one place where everybody can go, where they can get their news, and they don't have to worry about it being woke. And so we are all about the truth, and we want to make sure that people get the other side of the story. And it's told through citizen journalists. We don't have a big writing team. We have a team of 50 citizen journalists that are on the ground telling the stories. And so you need the truth. So you got to be informed. The truth will fire you up. It will get you to vote if you read about what's going on. And then we've got to make sure that we're using good data and technology to actually turn out the vote in elections. That's what the Democrats do too. And we've got to do more work on our elections and making sure that they are above the board.
It's well said. We need action wherever. If you're out there looking for truth, and the thing about truth right now is America has an aversion to it, an allergic reaction to it. It's too painful to think that, oh my gosh, I was wrong. I mean, I'm thinking about so many. If I put my hope and faith into something that turns out to be not as expected, that can be crushing for a person. And so we're going to say, drop the pride, because truth, we're seeking it. regardless of how painful it is once we get there. But we must live under that empire, cannot live under an empire of lies, which we have so often. RockyMountainVoice.com. They can join and follow there. You're on X, HeidiGannell.com. We've got a lot of activity. We want to do this again. So I want to thank you so much for coming on. Follow her everywhere you can, folks, and do this until next time. Serve God, help others, stay good. Goodbye. God bless everybody.
The Matthew Dark Show, your one-stop show for truth, courage, fellowship, and faith. Available everywhere you get your podcasts.